Hello and good morning. I guess we should start by saying Happy New Year to you. I hope you had some nice meals and you got to be with your family for the New Year's Eve and also Christmas. And that somehow, was a good time to you. For us here in Montreal, it was just the four of us. And but it was nice, it's me, my wife, and our two sons. Gabriel is 22 and Pedro is 18. So we believe that really soon we won't get to have Christmas and New Year's with them because eventually they will go somewhere for college. But it's always nice to have them with us. So I hope it was the same to you. I hope you had a good time, that you shared good meals, and then you got to connect again. Sometimes in the past years we always had guests, so and this time was just the four of us, and it turned out to be a very nice conversation. It's always nice to be in family. So Happy New Year. It's good to be here. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. I'm recording this video the day before, so today is actually Saturday. It's a beautiful snowy day here in Brossard, and I guess it will be the same in Madoc. So anyways, it's great that you are here, that you are joining me this morning, this Sunday morning. And again, this is not a live video, it's something I'm recording the day before. Although it's nice, I'll be uploading this as a regular Sunday morning. And as you know, I chose to for the first 3 times that we are meeting, because of the COVID restrictions, of course, I chose to for us to do something like this, online. I mean, these encounters on the 3rd, the next Sunday, and the Sunday after that. But God willing, coming the 24th, I'm sorry, coming the 24th, that's the first time that I'm hoping that, I can be at church and you can be there with me. So we got to meet face to face, we got to be in person, and I can get acquainted to some of you, some of you. And I think that would be very nice. I'm really looking forward to meet all of you. And of course, I'm really looking forward to meet my future church too. It's I've been looking at St. Peter's online. There's only there's not too many pictures, but I can see it's a beautiful temple. I can see the church is it's much more than I could ask for. It's a beautiful building, and I can't wait. I just can't wait to be there, to get to see you, which you are the real church, not the building, but to get to see all of you. And also to get to see the church that's going to be the one that I was called for. So again, and about that, thank you very much. Thank you very much for establishing a committee and voting for me. I sure appreciate it. I hope I will not let you down. I hope that we're going to have some blessed times together. And I'm really looking forward for us to do ministry together. So thank you very much again. The other thing I wanna tell you is that I'm not calling this a online worship service because it is obviously missing some parts of a worship service. We don't have music. We're not gonna have prayers, and we're not gonna do our calls and things like that. So it's just pretty much me talking to you today. I hope that doesn't offend you. I hope that's it's the first time that I'm recording something to upload on YouTube, and I don't know how that's gonna work, but for the time being, I'm still learning how to edit the video, and I guess you'll be I just don't know how to put the calls and everything else. So as I move forward, we can improve every week as we go. But for the time being, it's just me talking to you. So let's not call this a worship service today, but maybe our first encounter. Something that we can talk a little bit. I mean, I can talk a little bit and you get to listen. But, something that we can... My hopes for the day, to be honest with you, is that we can start to think how we can be church together. There's some points I want to discuss with you. And of course, I'll get into... I have a short sermon as well, I should say. I looked at the lectionary, and the lectionary brought a passage that I could not just miss. It's John 1. It's the Gospel of John in chapter 1. He starts on verse 1 and goes to verse 18. So it's a beautiful passage. I don't want to finish this today without talking about. I think we should, even if it is not for a long time. But I guess I want to use this first encounter that I'm having with you for us to get to know each other. At least you get to know me first, and then we can move forward. How about that? I think that's okay, right? So let's read together the Gospel of John from chapter 1, verse 1 to 18. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John." This is not the gospel writer John, this is John the Baptist, just for you to know. "So he came as a witness to testify the light, so that all might believe through him. And he himself was not the light, but he came to testify to the light." So the evangelist wants you to know that. He was not the light, he came to testify. And again, that's John the Baptist. "The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the road, and the road came into being through him. Yet the road did not know him. He came to what was his own, and his own people did not accept him. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born not of blood, or the will of the flesh, or of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and lived among us. And we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. John testified to him and cried out, 'This was he of whom I said, he who comes after me ranks ahead of me because he was before me.' From his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. The law indeed was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. It is God, the only Son, who is close to the Father's heart, who has made him known." My friends, this is the Word of God. Praise be to God. So good morning again. Happy New Year to you. So I was thinking, what should I say on my first time addressing the church? And I was inspired by it, one of the last papers I wrote last year. I was studying at Tyndale, and I did a paper on this short book called Haggai. Haggai is just a 2-chapter book. It's in the Old Testament, and Haggai was very interesting because he had one goal in mind, which was to rebuild the temple. The temple has been destroyed and Haggai wanted the people to rebuild it. So that was the main message there. Okay, let's rebuild the temple. But if you really look, the message of Haggai, it's like, okay, let's get things straight. Let's do first things first. So since I'm here today with you, and this is my first time addressing the church as your future pastor, I want to get first things first, if you will. You know, there's a lot of first things we can talk about, but I chose to discuss three things, you know. One of them is very silly, as you will see. So the first thing I want to talk to you is, as many of you know, I was never a pastor before, except that a few years ago, I was the student pastor for 10 weeks in a Christian Reformed church. It is a wonderful church in a small town called Williamsburg. You know, if you go up 401 from where you are, from Bellevue, I would say, you will get to Morrisburg, and then you turn left there, and you'll find Williamsburg. It's a wonderful community, and to be honest with you, I did not know much about them. You know, the only thing I knew is that they were Reformed, like us Presbyterians. I guess that's why they got me too, otherwise they wouldn't. And the second thing is that most of them, their parents, their grandparents and great-grandparents came from the Netherlands. So it was basically a very Dutch-rooted church. And that was quite an experience for me. You know, I love the church, I love the people there. It was 10 amazing weeks, no doubt. I made friends for life, and that was really good too. And I remember in my very first sermon, I decided to do something that I wanted to do here too. You know, I began my sermon that day by apologizing for the mistakes that I would be doing. And sure enough, I did plenty of mistakes. You know, it is, again, I didn't know their church, I didn't know their culture. And sure enough, I ended up making some mistakes, and I was glad I did apologize before. It turned out that was important. You know, it's, you know, no big deal, to be honest with you. You know, it's just, I'll give you an example just for the sake of it. There was a prayer that they do during worship, and it is used to, they do as a sort of a long prayer. And when I was writing my sermons, I was going to the structure that they gave me, the pastor gave me, and I was writing that prayer very short. You know, it wasn't a length at all. So after a few services, one of the elders came to me, and he told me, listen, we do this prayer a little bit longer, so you have to write a little bit more there. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So little things like this. So it was a great experience for me. I believe I made friends for life. I really enjoy, to be their pastor for those 10 weeks. I love the opportunity they gave me. And I hold them dear to my heart to the day. But basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't know your church yet. I don't know the people at St. Peter's. I don't know the things you like. I don't know the things you dislike. I don't know so many things. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I say something ever that somehow offends you or that you're not comfortable with, for you to come to me first. You know, let's discuss, let's talk about. I have no problem apologizing. I'm doing that in advance. So, and I have no need to be right all the time. So if you notice something that maybe you didn't understand or you didn't like it, you can come in and we can talk, and if amendments needs to be made, I sure will. I guess this is the first thing I wanna discuss with you. The second thing I want to discuss with you is that it's not a discussion. It's just silly, to be honest with you. You know, funny story. As you know, my name is Silvio, but for some weird reason, I guess it's not that weird, but for some reason, every time I introduce myself as Silvio, Anglophones, English speakers, they will call me Sergio. Why? Maybe because there's a lot of Sergios around, especially with the French speaking, but not as many Silvios. You know, there's a lot of Silvias and Silvies, but not too many Silvios. So people will call me Sergio. So one day I'm watching this TV series, you know, and there was a bunch of Italian guys, and on my mom's side, we are basically Italians. So that's so they have a Anthony. They call him Tony. You know, and there's this other guy. His name was Silvio, like me, and they called him Syl. So I was like, you know, why not? You know, if a Robert can be Bob, if a Joseph can be Joe, I can be Syl too. So that's what I go by. Most of the people at the college or at Tyndale, they call me Syl. You're welcome to call me that too. Except I have one exception. You know, except if you're under 18, then I'm Pastor Syl to you. Otherwise, you are welcome to call me Syl. If you want to call me Pastor Syl, that's fine too. You know, I'll be honored by that for sure. I have no need to be called the Reverend or something like that. I find it very pretentious. So I mean, we can put in the bulletin, you know, the title, the fancy title there. But I didn't came to do what I'm going to be doing this year with you for the title. So there's no need for Reverend. You know, it's Syl or Pastor Syl will be just fine. And I hope, you know, you feel free to call me that if you want to. So that's, now that I apologize for the things the mistakes that I'm going to be doing. Notice that I didn't say if I'm going to be doing it. No, I'm sure I'll do some mistakes. And now that you know how to call me, let me get to the third point. I believe that many of you already created some expectations about me. Some of you maybe are waiting for me to do some most needed changes in the church. Some other people may be concerned that I'll be coming around and changing things, and you don't want that. You don't want to make changes. So let's talk about that just for a little bit. You know, I believe that I'll give you, you know, let me tell you something. In 1994, when I got my first degree was in computers, in technology. And not only we install computers, but we also install softwares in some companies. And I remember at the time, 1994 in Brazil, computers were not around like it is these days. You know, just a few companies had them. And I remember it was always a challenge for us to come to a business and convince the employees to use the computer. You know, some of them would go like, why computers? You know, I can do by hand really quick here and that's fine. We don't need that. You know, it's just a complicated machine. It's just too much work. I see no reason for that. And I mean, it was quite the challenge, to be honest with you. Of course, these days, nobody doubts anymore how important computers are. I mean, it allows things like this, you know, it allows me to be here in Brossard today and communicating with you. So computers are in one sense a really good thing. You know, it really help us to do a lot of our work today. I would say that many companies today, you know, when the computers go down, they don't even know how to do anything anymore. So this is to say, I guess, that I'm like you. I don't like changes too much. Not like you, but like everybody else. I guess people in general, we don't like to be changing things around. But there's some changes that if we do, and I hope we can do some, I think because they are important. They are, I wouldn't say not just important, they're necessary. Especially now, after this pandemic, not after, because we're still going through the pandemic right now. But we have to think in ways that we can still be a church, do things together, honor God, make the name of Jesus known, and get creative somehow. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, besides I don't like changes very much, I believe that if we do need to change, we will. But I hope that's going to happen when two things happen. The first one is that all of you, or at least most of you, it's on board with the changes that we're going to be implementing. And the second thing is, I believe I won't be able to effectively change anything, again, if we need to do that, without you trusting me first. I guess it takes some time, so I'll get there, you get to know me, and I truly believe that once you understand that I have your best interest in heart, that I want the best for our church, I guess you'll be more welcoming, even helping me to make some things different, I would say. Other than that, I guess before I get you to first trust me, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a challenge in itself. So that's something I wanna put forward, because I don't want you to be concerned right away. I guess there's a learning curve for me as your pastor, and there is also some time that's necessary for us to begin looking what our goals are, how things are going to be, and move forward. And this is very important. I keep noticing I say all the time. Please forgive me. I guess I'm a little bit nervous. Other than that, I was 2 days ago, before I record this video to you, I found out that one man that I really admire, this Christian person that recently passed away. He passed away last year. I found out that there's possibly some scandals around him. He was a very important man to me. I even have some of his books behind me, and that's always frustrating. It's frustrating for the church in general. Of course, we know that we are men and women, we are human beings, that we are in general sinners, and that we fail. And I guess for so many years, the church did some things that people in general, they do not approve. I guess one of the biggest accusations we face these days is to being hypocrites. Hypocrites, did I say it right? I don't know, I'm not sure. But someone that says something and acts differently. So I don't want us to be that. I really want us to live a Christian life, the best what we can. We really should strive for that. And because of course, some of us is gonna fail, and that's okay, as long as we are humble enough to try again, and try to be faithful, and try to be honest to God and to ourselves. We are called to be a different people, and this is important. And I really hope we're going to be doing some things like that. We're going to be somehow different and not be accused of being people that, preach some things and do things differently. That's a challenge in itself. I don't take Christianity for granted. I think it's very challenging to be a Christian, but I think it's possible, and we all can do. And I hope we will strive to do those things. Church in general, we made some very bad mistakes in the past. We still do. People these days, they are not as convinced that church should be part of their lives. There was a time, that you would just keep the doors of the church open and people would come in, no problem. But these days are different, and we notice that not only in our neighborhoods, Netflix, again, Amazon, the Amazon Prime channel. I mean, you have all these things these days that just make people busier, I would say. We are all carrying computers in our pockets. So that's a very challenge in itself. And of course, hockey did not go away. And we keep being bombarding, not with all the things that the church do that are good. And we do a lot of good. I have no doubt to think that we do more good than we do bad. But the things that comes in the news, it's the bad things we do or the bad things that some of us do. And this has been a challenge for us. So times are different. Times are very different now. There was a time that your parents or your grandparents made you sit through the worship service, and you spend your entire life coming to the church on Sunday. So here you are. It's not like that today. It's always a struggle to make our children to come to church. I lost that fight a long time ago with mine, and that's sad. But I guess there's hope for us, and the only way out that I see, the only way for us to overcome that, it's for us to be the sort of people that we say things and we do those things we say. We don't just tell people what to do, but we live that sort of life. And here comes the message for today, because you have John, the evangelist John, writing this piece of poetry, which is this beginning of his gospel. He says, in the beginning, there was this thing called the Word, and that Word was with God. And you may think, oh, okay, so there's this thing called Word. The Word was with God. If it is with God, it is not God. And John says, no, he was God. What sort of God, John? Well, he was the same God than God, because he was a creator too. He was there in the beginning. But John, he was God. God is light. And John says, yes, he is light. He's the light, the sort of light that overcome darkness. I mean, that's pretty impressive right there. And he goes on and on to do these assertions about what sort of being this word is. It's interesting because the Greeks use this word, capital W, word, as logos. The same word that gives us logic. In Latin, we find the word, they don't call it word, they call it the verb. It means there's actions. And in English, we translate it into word. So this word was there at the beginning with God, and he was God. And to the end of the passage we read today, John is going to tell you, and you know what else? This word came to the road. This word was made flesh and came and lived among us. And people testified of this word, So Brothers and sisters, this is a very amazing claim right there. John gives us this idea that God himself came to the road, lived among us in flesh. Now, of course, many people are welcome to believe in John or not. You know, they can just say, oh, this is not quite. I mean, what I'm trying to say, you're welcome to trust that or not. But we, as a people of faith, we trust that that is true. And by doing so, by trusting that the Word came to the road and lived among us and taught us and asked us to do, no, I'll take that back. He didn't ask us. He commanded us to do things by a principle. As Christians, we have to do not only what the Word asks us to do, but we have to live the life that the Word expects us to do, to live. So I guess this is our biggest challenge for this coming year of 2021. And I don't want to, I honestly do not have much expectations for us. I guess my biggest expectations that we do just that. If this Word came to the road, lived among us and taught us and commanded us to do things, we should strive to do our best to follow these teachings, to be the sort of people that really lived by this set of teachings, that are called to live a life in the road like the Word did, but to be somehow different. See, there's so many options for community, for you to be a community out there, you know. There's places like, I don't know, Rotary Club. I don't know if you have one in Madoc, or Lions Club. There are societies like the Freemasons, and those are all good. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is not that we are better than Rotary, Lions, or the Freemasons, but we are definitely with a goal in mind, because we carry a message that's going to make the next life for you very different. So that's how I see it. We have something really special, because we cannot just be around people and not share the good news of Jesus Christ with them, of a God that came to this world to do what exactly? John says right there, to tell everybody, every person, everyone, that now you also can be a children of God. Not by flesh, not by blood, but because you believe and you trust in God's Son, Jesus. So that's what we are called to do. We are called to believe that God sent us His own Son. And now that He did that for us, we are to live a different life. So that's my goal for 2021. It's the only goal, I would say. That we can be faithful followers of Christ. That's all I want to be. And I hope that's all you want to be too. My brother, my sister, Happy New Year again. Happy 2021. Looking forward to meet you. God bless you. Have a blessed week. Next week, we meet together. We'll be together again. Me, still in Brossard. But coming the 24th, hopefully, I'll be there to meet you in person. And may the compassion of this wonderful God that sent us His Son, may the love of this wonderful God that it is the Son, and may the power of the Holy Spirit, that it is also God, be with all of us this year of 2001 and forever and ever. Amen. God bless you. See you next week. Bye-bye.